What's up, guys? So one of the exciting things for me about getting my game room set back up is actually being able to get my CRT ready to use again. As you can see, like it's right there, all good, ready to be used. And one thing that makes me really happy about having my CRT set back up is that I can actually play NES games again. I had been building up a small collection of these level hike HDMI converters because in our last place I wasn't able to have my CRT set up, so I could only use a flat panel screen. And they do a good job of converting the consoles that they're compatible with to make them able to be played through HDMI. But the NES is not one of those consoles that was capable of that. It had an RF out and it had direct AV out. The only way you could affordably convert that to HDMI is through one of those little converter boxes, and it just destroys the signal. So I'm very happy to have my CRT set back up so I can play those games again. But something that I've been spoiled to in this era of modern gaming is a wireless controller. It's something that I feel we really take for granted today in this age of gaming is the fact that all controllers are now wireless. Breaking out my NES to play it again and having to deal with this stupid wire to be able to play it is kind of annoying. While I'm not gonna go and say that, oh, I can't do it because my room's too big, because it's not. I mean, it's not a big room. I can plug that controller into the NES and sit with my back almost against the wall over there. The wire is still a hassle to have to deal with. Until, well, about 5 years ago or so. 8BitDo actually has an NES Bluetooth receiver. And so I want to talk to you guys a bit about that today. I did have this already. I've actually had this for a while, but because I couldn't set my CRT up to play the NES, I couldn't talk about it because I couldn't show you how this guy works. But now I can. So let's take this guy over to the table, we'll unbox it, show you what little bit comes in the box, we'll go over firmware updating, and then we'll show it in action on the CRT and give you an idea of how it handles and some of the controller compatibilities, because it does have some on the box, but it's a little outdated at this point, you know? So yeah, let's do it. All right, here it is. If you will excuse my finger, I accidentally cut it open while I was slicing chicken the other day, and I need to, heal. I've always appreciated 8BitDo's kind of packaging because it's always very, very sleek, aside from the adhesive that's on the back of this one from a sticker that I had to take off. As you can see here, it is compatible with the NES, but that's good to know that it's not compatible with the classic control, with the NES Classic Edition. It is just for the original NES. This is an older adapter. It's not going to show like DualSense or anything as far as controller compatibilities. We've got the 8BitDo controllers and arcade sticks, Xbox controller, DualShock 3, DualShock 4, DualShock 4 Pro, whatever that is, and then Wiimote, Wii U stuff, and Switch Pro. So like, it is an old one. I think this came out in 2019. Because of that, it's not going to show like Xbox S controllers or Series S controllers or DualSense controllers or any of the or the 8BitDo Ultimate controller, anything like that. Any of the newer controller offerings, because this is a few years old at this point. Let's just crack this guy open. And we will get it out and see what we got. So we do have again, it's an older controller, so this is micro USB to USB-A, and we pull the guy out of here, and there it is. Now, one thing I've always appreciated about 8BitDo's adapters here is they do a really good job of trying to match the aesthetic of the original controller ports. So I have an NES controller here, and as you can see, like, no, it is definitely not the same design, but the aesthetic is very much similar. You've got the glossy black plastic, you've got the name stamped into it right here. The controller port is exactly the same size as it should be, as it kind of actually needs to be, because it's got to, fit into the console. And much like 8BitDo's other offerings, this thing is very, very stout. Like, I'm not at all concerned about this thing breaking on me, because, it is made of plastic, but it's important to know that not all plastics are created equally. This feels very sturdy, has basically no give to it when I squeeze it, and I'm not at all concerned about this guy coming apart on me. Aside from the body itself and the controller port, on the front of it here, there are 3 little things to note. You have your sync button, which we'll go over whenever we actually start using it. Got your little LED status light here, and you've got a micro USB port. Now, what this micro USB port is for you can do 2 things with it. Say you're running an old computer rig and it doesn't have a Bluetooth card in it, you can drop this guy in and plug this guy into your computer and use this as a Bluetooth receiver for your computer. That's a neat little feature. It's not something that I really foresee using very much, or anybody using that much, because I mean, you can go buy a Bluetooth receiver for very cheap. So like this is not, I wouldn't be buying this for that purpose. But the fact you can do it is neat. The other thing that this USB port is for updating the firmware on this guy. Since this is an older device, 2019, there probably is a firmware update for it, which is good because that should give compatibility to like newer controllers like your DualSense and whatnot. So we will do that before we go and try this out, just to make sure we have the ultimate compatibility across devices. An important thing to note, because I know I was confused about it when I first started looking at these adapters, because they has the port here. No, this does not have to be charged. This pulls power from the console to power it. This cable here is just for updating the firmware and plugging it into your computer. You do not actually have to charge anything in this device. So let's update the firmware. Let me show you how to do that, and we will get this guy rolling and see how it behaves with the console. The first thing you need to actually do is go download the firmware updater. I already have it on this computer, but I will show you where to go get it. You're gonna look for the 8BitDo upgrade tool. There is a special spot on their website for exactly that, so you can download it and get everything you need to update your software. I do already have it downloaded though, so we're just gonna flip over to that. And there we go. Now that I have the updater open, what we actually need to do is whenever we insert this guy to start the process, we need to actually put it into what is like its update mode. And to do that, you actually have to hold down the sync button while you plug it into the computer. It's a little finicky to get right. When you do it right, it will have this green flashing light instead of flashing blue. So then we can go into the updater itself, choose the product that we're wanting to update. Retro receiver for NES right here. And it looks like there is a new one available. Actually, that was released back in January. Okay. Oh, this came out in 2018 because the first updater was back in 2018. So this has been out a while. But we've got a 2024 update to this guy. So we will hit update and let it do its thing. And there we go, we're done. So we can just go ahead and unplug this guy. And now we are ready for a bunch of different controllers. So let's head back to the other room and test it out. All right, so all the tests today are gonna be with Super Mario Bros. Duck Hunt. And the first thing we're gonna be recording is the comparison for the input lag. So I have a proper NES controller here. It's corded and everything. Sorry, I am recording a CRT, so just ignore how awful it looks on camera. That's what's important though. You can see the input lag. So now we're gonna swap over to using the adapter from 8BitDo. I wanna be able to show you guys what's happening here. So we're gonna get this guy plugged in. And so when we turn it on, when we turn the system on, the blue light on it should start flashing. So as you can see, the system turned on and the little blue light here starts flashing. So we need to put this guy into pairing mode by pressing this red button. It'll start blinking very quickly, and we can start pairing controllers. So I have the 8BitDo Pro 2 controller here. I have it set into D input mode. This isn't even, okay, I had to turn it on. We're gonna get it into pairing mode, which we just did. It found it, the controller vibrated, the light stayed on, and this light went from flashing to solid. So now, as you can see, it works just fine. Next up, we're going to try it with another of 8BitDo controller. We're going to try it with the M30 here. Okay, so this one worked in D input mode. So I'm going to put this one into X input mode and see if that works as well. Yeah, we hold down the X button, turn it on, put it into X input mode, put this guy into pairing mode, and then put the receiver into pairing mode. Seems to have worked. Good. Oh, that flipped it weird. It made Y our B button. Check that input lag. Oh no, it made this our B button too. We can use either of them. Good, because that feels better. Using the lower button here feels better. Next up, we're going to try a DualSense controller. We put this guy into pairing mode. And that's in pairing mode when the blue lights start flashing like that. And then we set the 8BitDo adapter. Oh, that found it real quick. I had to figure out what the buttons were. Okay, so I think triangle is your B button and circle is your A button. So you can use X or triangle, I believe. Yeah. X or triangle, depending on how you like your fingers laid out. Next up, we're gonna do a Switch Pro Controller. Get this guy into pairing mode. Hit the button. There we go, found it. So this one, A is A button, which is good. It looks like you can use either B or Y as your B button, which is convenient. So all of them seem to be fairly consistent with that, which is nice. Gotta show off that input lag, gotta remember to do that. I don't have the NES controllers that Nintendo sold for the Switch, otherwise I'd test those, but I do have the Super Nintendo controller, so we're gonna test it. Get this guy into pairing mode, turn the receiver into pairing mode, found it. Same thing, you can use B or X as your run button, the lower or the upper one. A is still your jump button. I have an Xbox Series X controller here, so we're going to try it. Get this guy into pairing mode. Hit the pair button on the receiver. It's not seeming to want to do it. So let's try it one more time. Let's get it into pairing mode and turn the receiver to pairing mode. It doesn't seem to like it. Okay, I think it's safe to say the Series X controller is a dud. It does not work with this setup. Luckily for y'all, I also have an Xbox One controller. Let's get it into pairing mode. Oh, it took. The lights down here is blue. Okay, so I think that they changed the Bluetooth protocol between the Xbox One and the Xbox Series X controller, the Xbox Series X stuff. So that might be why it doesn't work, but if you have an Xbox One controller laying around, you can use it. But sometimes the Xbox button layout is a little different. Oh no, it's the same. You can use those and you can use the D-pad or the joystick, whichever your preference is. Show off the input lag. And then for kicks and giggles, because I have it, the Nintendo Switch Online N64 controller. Get this guy into pairing mode. Turn the receiver to pairing mode. The other Nintendo controllers work, so I don't see why this one wouldn't. Then again, I think we might have a not worker. I don't think this one's gonna pair. All right then, that's good to know. So aside from two duds, it will work with most any controller you're gonna probably throw at it. So happy playing, I guess. I don't know how well you could see it from the video right there, but it did, you know, it's not as responsive as using the proper controller because there is just this tiniest little bit of input delay. Much like the other ones I've talked about, it just feels like you're using a Bluetooth controller. Same thing with using a wireless controller on PC to emulate games. There's just the slightest little bit of delay that's just not quite as snappy as using a proper wired controller. So just something to keep in mind. Play it for like 5 minutes and you'll get used to it and you'll be playing like it's no problem. But I have to say, this is a nice little piece of kit to have in your setup. To not have to worry about wires is a big deal, and so long as you're not trying to use the Nintendo Switch N64 controller or the Xbox Series X controller, you're pretty much in the clear. My eventual goal is going to be to have all of my consoles set up against a wall, ready to, like, plugged in, all of them plumbed to the TV, ready to go. So having something like this to where I can just plug this in and wirelessly sync up a controller to it is going to be really, really nice. And with how minimal the input lag is on this guy, I really don't think that that's going to ever be an issue, you know? It's so subtle that, yes, you can notice it, but play for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, you're accustomed to it and you don't have to worry about it anymore. It's nowhere near as noticeable of a lag as like trying to plug one of these consoles into an HD TV. That was borderline unplayable. This is plenty easy to adjust to. So yeah, if you want one of these, I'll drop an Amazon affiliate link down in the description below so you can go pick one up. I'll probably grab another one of these just so I can have both controller ports set up for Bluetooth. But that's going to be it for me. Thank you guys so much for being here, and I look forward to bringing you even more hardware reviews just like this one as the days go on. So again, thank you guys for being here, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one, y'all. So yeah, let's do it. And no, I didn't actually throw it. The box was empty. So I'm so mad. I filmed that entire thing without my microphone recording, with my microphone set up, but didn't have it recording. So yippee for me. I'm a dummy. I'm just a dum-dum.